at 7:01. Review agenda for additions, removal, or adjustments of any items. Anything? Either one of you? Nope. Public forum, 5 minutes for any person that's not on the agenda to have a say. Anybody? Okay. Department head roundtable. Where's Eric?
Probably not on the road.
Oh, probably. Okay, Bruce, you're on.
Bruce is here.
Yep.
Good evening, Bruce.
Hey, good evening. Just a friendly reminder that as of November 1st, we have the parking ban in effect. So there's no overnight parking on any roads or streets in Bristol. And for those that are parking off street, they have to be at least 2 feet from the pavement. They can't be blocking a sidewalk and have to be at least 1 foot from the sidewalk for plowing purposes. Other than that, it's snowing out there, so everybody drive carefully.
It's true.
Bruce, remind us where the parking ban is. You said it's Main Street. Is it also around the park? Did you just say that? I didn't listen to you.
There is no overnight parking on any streets or roads in Bristol during the winter ban. With the exception of Main Street, there's parking unless the light is flashing.
Right, that was it. Okay.
And behind the park, that if they have a permit, they can park there?
Correct.
So-
If they have a permit, they can park behind the park only when the light's flashing.
Okay. All right, Jill.
Hello.
Jill?
Not surprisingly, the water system has been winterized, so any hydrants that get run that have a blue label around the front of them, just let the water department know that the hydrant is being run so that we can come and re-winterize it. For instance, if they're fighting a fire or fighting a fire. Pretty much. There's 14 of them now. Again, all of them are marked with a blue ring around the front, largest port on the hydrant itself. So everything is winterized. We have the blow off open. That's been downsized to a smaller diameter to see if we could have a bit less water flow, but still maintain that line as being flushed and kept liquid through the winter. So that was done, and other things winterized include like the water fountain is off, and the rec department no longer has water to any of the facilities that are not heated. So those things have been done. Water samples for November were taken today. We are continuing to mark out curbs on Bristol East. We've probably got about 30 left to mark out for Steve to be able to finish designing kind of the linear portion of the project over the winter for Bristol East. And subsequent hydrant flushing for flow testing will happen in the spring, being that it's we were in a drought for, as I'm sure many of you are aware, we were in a bit of a drought for about 10 to 12 weeks. And then it started to get really cold. So that will get done in the spring, which will give some more fire flow and sizing information for final line sizing for other portions of the project. And I believe that the Bristol West project will go out to bid pretty soon if we can get the state to just finish approving some of the last details so that we can go out to bid. And that Bristol West is, gosh, it's like 2 miles of water lines. So that's pretty exciting.
That it?
Yeah, for now. There'll be more in 2 weeks.
Have any questions for Jill? Okay.
Thanks.
Brett?
Good evening, everybody. Just a couple highlights. So it's budget season, so I've had an opportunity to reach out to my vendors and pick up some numbers from them, and I had my budget meeting this morning with Greg, so that went very well. Thanks for his time. Very excited. One of our only firefighter that was on a leave of absence, Anthony Robidoux, he has returned. to South Carolina. Yeah. So selfishly, we're very happy he's back.
The Carolinas didn't fit him, huh?
Guess not. So he's back. Obviously, I'm here this evening with another prospective candidate, and tomorrow morning I'll be meeting with another prospective
Awesome.
candidate. So
Mhm.
The timing's all good, because our numbers are down a little bit, what we're accustomed to, so.
Okay.
October was an extremely busy month, we had a coin drop, we had the food drive, we had 3 trainings, November's a short month, but we still have to cram in a couple Wednesday night trainings, so for the next 2 consecutive Wednesdays, we have those. At last week's staff meeting, for policy, any potential candidates for any of the officer positions, the assistant chief, captain, 2 lieutenants, or the 2 emergency vehicle maintenance technician positions are open. So we had 1 person put their name out there. So again, for policy, we will vote on that at the December meeting, and if there is a change, it will take effect January 1st. So those are my updates, pending any questions from you all.
How much did you get for the coin drop?
I'm sorry.
How much did you get for the coin drop?
I can't give you the exact number, but it was like 43.
It was close to 40, this was over 42.
That's
We're
what,
very successful,
Good.
that's what,
Yes,
very successful day.
men junior guys, that's so
for 300.
nice.
Any other questions?
Nothing.
Okay.
Thanks.
Consent agenda, consideration of work in the right of way and access permit 8168 Plank Road. Do we have the one for Carlstrom Road?
Yes,
Okay. Consideration of work in right of way and access permit for 1022 Carlstrom Road. Approval of past meeting minutes for 9/22/2025. Authorized warrant and any liquor tobacco license. Are there any liquor tobacco license, Sharon? No. Okay. Okay, there's only 2 of you, so between you and you and
I
Jessica.
make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
You can technically.
I
second,
know,
Mr.
but,
Chair.
okay, so work in the right of way for Plank Road.
That has, let me go it up here.
Yeah, you weren't prepared, huh?
I need look at it.
I didn't look at the Carlstrom Road one.
Right.
Well, I can ask my question on it, but
Yeah. No. Connect here, hold on a second. It's gotta get me here, make me a co-host. It's technology, the speaker is in it. Okay, there we go.
okay, so my only question is
Yes.
she giving up her other driveway that's on Plank Road? Cause I thought we only allowed 1 driveway per. I mean, that was the whole discussion we had with,
The Alliance.
yeah, Dan.
Well, he didn't give up his.
No, he was going to though. He didn't initially, but my understanding is that eventually they were not gonna be using that one on North Street. They were just gonna use the one on Crescent Road.
I don't know, that would be a question for AZ. We don't have a policy, it's sort of. Cause we've had this question come up with Dan with other ones. I don't believe it's part of the policy in terms of only allowing one, it's the preferred method.
So do we know why she's moving it?
I don't.
Yeah, there's nothing really in there. I
No.
looked at that. Do you know, Chris?
I don't.
You don't know.
Genesis plan was what it is.
Okay. Mhm. Jessica, do you have any questions on this?
No, I was just trying to see if Eric had made notes.
No, his notes were allowing it and what his
Yeah.
restrictions are, but he doesn't say anything about the other driveway.
So there's an existing driveway on Plank already, and then this would be in off of North.
Yeah, I mean, she's parked on Plank for, oh,
30 years.
yeah, at least. Mhm.
Well, so if we don't. We'll have to figure out the dual driveway thing. and
Yeah,
Put it as part of the policy.
or, yeah, or.
And also figure out, in terms of our questions, we need, at a meeting, we need someone here to be able to answer the questions.
Right.
Generally, it would be Eric, he's out because of the snow,
Right.
obviously.
Mhm.
But I wonder if we need a better. These go through you know,
AZ,
Eric and AZ,
right.
but are they required to be here at the meeting if we had questions or if we asked questions before? Just
Mm.
to streamline this process.
Mhm.
But yeah, it is, they are good questions, so we have to figure out how to get those answers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with her putting the driveway there. It's just a matter of whether we allow the two.
Yes,
Mhm.
Thanks.
Good.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I see a box check that says relocation.
right.
Yeah, but relocation doesn't mean
Oh.
you're gonna stop using the
You think
existing
it
one.
would, but I think probably we need to update this to be more specific, or, you know, update our policy to know,
Right.
what, you know.
If you're only allowed one or
Yes.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
just from a planning standpoint, I would not make a policy that only one driveway is
Mhm.
allowed per property.
No, but clarity on,
Clarity on the process, yes,
Yes,
in
yes.
whatever criteria you come up with, but every property is unique, so.
yeah, oh yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, somewhere there where we could, that question
Could-
hopefully could be
could be
answered.
answered on it,
Yeah,
yeah.
because we had that question a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Text Daisy to see.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I'll let you know.
Okay,
Okay, next one, Carson Road.
all right. So that has to- Then the crossing, this is the one.
If you think I can read that, you're nuts, so. 'Cause
I moved the TV closer. But distance is good both ways, and to install a plastic culvert.
This is an existing house, or is this something they're building? You know,
So look at the map.
yeah, I was trying to. No, looks like there's a house, new road.
So that looks like it's where they cut all the trees back about 2 years ago, just south of their house.
I don't know where they are, live, so you're talking right at the bottom of. Well, no, Carlson Road would be up rather.
Right as you turn on Carlstrom from this end, from the notch end. Get about 3/4 way down the flat,
Mhm.
fields open up on both sides, that's where their house is, and where they're looking to put that road in is, there was a wooded patch that got a huge blowover in that windstorm. Same where Lathrop's cleared theirs, in that
Yeah.
same storm.
So they're planning on putting up a house then,
I have
if there's not already one there.
assumed so.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, we can push these out 2 weeks. If we have questions, I do feel the being able, having no one here to be able to answer our questions, I think is. We need to fix that,
Mhm.
and it's either. Improving this, so the questions we might have, or a majority can be answered in there. I think we do need better. Information on these, or we would need AZ to be here. To answer any questions, or Eric, you know, it's unusual that Eric's not here, he
Right.
would be normally.
Right.
But I do think it's a useful thing, it'd be nice to be able to have all the information we need.
Easy said they don't believe that Tannis was gonna give up her plan for a driveway.
Yeah, see, so that's interesting, okay,
Mhm. This one was dated May 18th of 2025, and we're just getting it in November.
didn't come back and pursue it, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it was received November 3rd, yeah, they picked it up.
Yeah, huh. I mean, I guess,
What is out of policy?
I don't know that I know where policy really is.
And then,
I mean, I just know we had a big discussion with Dan about him having two accesses.
I know.
And then when
He
there's
was
such a
here,
small
he was
lot,
discussing it.
when there's such a small lot, it, you know, it's.
Yeah.
Takes up a lot of space, but. I mean, I don't think there's any reason that we have to really deny them.
Right.
At this point, so,
until we get a policy, a better policy,
Yeah,
or a clearer
it's
policy.
not, this isn't
Mhm.
make or break anything.
no, I know,
Let's make it 2
Okay.
Okay, the minutes I sent to you guys.
Yep.
And what's the warrant? Yeah, the total number.
It's, the new one is, drum roll please, $121,185.23.
God, cheap.
Yeah,
What-
well, the
I
next meeting.
I wouldn't say-
Make the school
I know.
We have to
I
make that
said
school payment?
cheap.
Within 15 days.
Yeah.
after the tax is
Yeah.
paid.
Okay. Any other comments on the consent agenda?
No. Did you
Okay.
have any comments on minutes? I didn't see.
Yeah, I did. I sent them to you and Greg.
Really?
Mm-hmm. See, he keeps telling me he doesn't get
Yeah,
my.
I got, it's, yes, it was the agenda item too, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor on the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, regular business. Bristol Fire Department Fire Chief Brett LaRose and firefighter candidate Michael Steins, thank you,
Yeah.
Steens, thank you.
Before we proceed,
Mhm.
is it out of order if I ask to provide an additional update, an alibi in my report?
Sure.
Is that,
Go ahead.
I mentioned it to Greg today in my budget meeting, but as your board members may recall, we've been talking about this pickup truck for
Yeah.
some time now. Well, finally working with the dealerships and, getting more real about what we wanted, what we need, I should say, what we need. So I have prices and it is my plan to come before you all. Fortunately, it will be virtually because I'll be in Pennsylvania on Monday, the 24th with those proposals. And I told Greg ahead of time, I would provide him a write-up, a justification, if you will, which you've all heard before, but I'll put it in writing again with the quotes. So you guys have something to look at. And if you want to throw questions at me, obviously, it's your prerogative. So,
Okay.
Okay, so 24?
24, and just a reminder,
Okay.
the monies for this purchase is all a donation,
Okay,
all 100% a donation.
And that was just from the coin drops. That's a
No,
great
that's-
price you paid.
Different one.
okay,
Okay, all right, yeah, I will put you on the agenda.
Well,
Come forward.
So, yeah, good evening again, everyone. As noted, this is Michael Steens. Michael is prospective candidate for the Bristol Fire Department. As we normally do, we have taken him through our normal process. So Michael came in, we had an informal meet and greet. Actually, Michael's come a couple different times as he's pondered this idea, and then finally life is in order, and this is a good time for Michael to come on board the fire department. So filled out an application, we had an interview, a couple of the officers interviewed him. Did the background check, the reference checks, and very excited about the possibility of bringing this person on board, so. Here he is, if you have any questions for Mr. Steens.
What's the onboarding process like from here?
Well, so from here, as I was just telling Michael out in the lobby, once as the appointing authority, once that's completed, the officers, the company he's assigned to, they have up to 10 days to schedule their orientation, where they'll come in, official orientation of the station, the vehicles, equipment. They'll issue a set of turnout gear, receive a pager, access to the building. There's a lot of stuff to bring someone on board, just to get them ship shape. And then we'll start talking about when it'll be appropriate to start responding to emergencies.
Okay.
So in a non-emergency capacity, because probationary firefighters are not permitted to have a red light permit. So.
and then you talk about firefighter one.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, you know, and unfortunately, we don't know from year to year. The firefighter one certification program that Michelle referenced, you know, that the Vermont Fire Academy puts on, that per policy, all Bristol firefighters are required to take. It should be in Addison County this year, based on their new cycle. Where it used to be in Addison County every year, because we could always fill a class here in the county, but for more equity, they're trying to spread the wealth out over the state. But a couple of our firefighters over the last few years who've taken this have done the hybrid model, where they take the classroom portion from their home and then they drive to the Vermont Fire Academy to take the practical, which is one of the many reasons to buy this pickup truck.
Yeah.
to stop paying mileage and also to stop damaging personal vehicles and paying insurance claims on.
Mm.
So, but yeah, that's what's next.
Does the hybrid approach lose anything from it all being in person?
You know, I think it depends on the learner. You know, I think for some people, it's ideal if they, have family obligations. You know, I know for me, like when I need to attend these board meetings, I mean, just the fact that I'm in my house. I can talk to you, I have my Bluetooth on, you can see me, but that means so much, plus it saves. If we're talking about going to the academy, well, we're talking about, probably
2
up to
hours.
2 hours of travel time just to do that,
Mhm.
But some people don't learn the same way online as other people do. And when I say it's online, it's not like you're sitting there reading, there's actually an instructor on the other end.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
just going over the same PowerPoint presentations they would if you were in person. But it works well for some, but not for all.
So what's your interest in Bristol Fire Department? Do you have a background in this or?
No, I've just wanted to be a firefighter for a long time, and
Okay.
now's a good opportunity, I feel like, so
Right.
I'm just gonna go for it, and I like helping people, and so
You have a young family, right, Michael?
I do, I have a boy and a girl, 3 and 7, so.
Okay, that's a good,
Yeah, but I live right around the corner from the fire department, so.
He could run.
even better.
He doesn't have to travel.
Are you new to Bristol or?
Been here for about 4 years, yeah.
Fantastic.
Long enough to figure it out.
Yeah.
Do you hear them go out all the time then?
I do,
Like, I wanna be part of that. Yeah,
Well, good.
that's great.
And Michael's had an opportunity to meet the department on a couple different occasions.
Mhm.
We always invite him as a guest to one of our monthly meetings, just to, meet folks. So he actually came to the October meeting, but unfortunately due to his work schedule, he came in late, so the meeting had already started and didn't really get a chance to interact. But just last Wednesday at our November meeting, he had an opportunity to be on the floor during equipment inspections and ask questions and, what is everybody doing? And get a chance to meet everybody. So he's not a stranger anymore.
Mhm.
That's okay.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, already off to a good start.
Mhm. Mhm.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much
Yes.
for volunteering. I know that, it's a fantastic place to be volunteering at.
Awesome, it's great.
Yes.
Nice to
You'll
meet you.
enjoy your time.
And I understand the clerks will have a packet of paper for you.
I will.
At some point, to
Mhm.
hand off new employee stuff.
Yep.
I was so happy when Chris said, I'll prepare that for you.
It's a well-oiled machine.
Yes. So, thank you.
I'll make a motion to appoint Michael, what was your last name?
Steeds.
Steens, as a volunteer firefighter.
A second. I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Any questions, Jessica?
Nope.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye,
Hi,
Any opposed? Motion carried. Welcome
Great.
aboard.
yeah, thank you very much.
thank
you
you.
Good.
Yeah.
Good luck.
You all have a good evening.
Yeah,
too.
thank you.
Yeah. Consideration of Conservation Commission candidate Gail Klein to fill vacant seat that runs to March of 2026. I see Gail online
Bill's online, I'm gonna make sure this is here.
and is,
Hi Gail, you should be able to turn your video on and unmute.
There we go. Okay, hi.
how are you?
Okay,
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Want to be on the Conservation Commission?
What's that?
Why do you want to be on
Oh.
the Conservation Commission?
Oh, well, I've been looking for a way to volunteer in Bristol. I've been here about 5 years, and when I saw they had a vacancy, they put something on Front Porch Forum. They let me sit in on a meeting. Still actually trying to understand everything that they do and what they're responsible for, but I'm interested in serving, and I love nature and just interested in learning more about governance in our town and everything. And so it seemed like a great opportunity because they needed someone, and I've sat in on a few meetings. Obviously we talk about the parks and things that, all of us care so much about. So I thought it would be a great way to learn and participate more in town.
fantastic. Do you have a background at all in conservation or anything like that, or just an interest?
Yeah, just an interest. I don't have any background. I've asked them repeatedly, is that okay? And they said it's fine. So no, my background is more creative arts and writing and counseling and done mental health counseling, and so it's not exactly that, but I've always had an interest in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Perfect. Well, thank you for volunteering. I'm glad to hear that you've attended meetings.
yes.
Yeah, it's a great group of people.
Jessica, you have any questions?
No, we appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Motion to get applying to the Conservation Commission. So this is a vacant seat that will run until next March. And then if you still enjoy doing it, you can come forth and we'll
Reappoint.
to a couple of years down the line.
Yep.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you, Gail.
Yeah.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Well,
Thank you, Gail.
thank you, Gail.
Thank you, Gail.
Have a lovely evening.
Okay, continued review of a new livestock running at large ordinance.
Okay, so we've been at this for a while. And it's come back on the website. There's a little bit of history of sort of where this came, how it started and where we're at now. We've got the latest draft, which was February 3rd of 2025. Looking back in terms of the history, our last update was the end of February. We had our attorney, Kevin Brown, look at it, provide some documentation. We've had the police department weigh in, bunch of different things. Last agreement was we were inquiring how neighboring towns were addressing impoundment. And it sort of fell off the radar. We talked about our offense fees, stuff like that. Our last ask was getting more detail and outlining various enforcement processes.
Well, we also talked to a couple people about doing someplace to impound them,
Correct.
and there was nobody that
No.
said there's no way they would do that because of a lot of the requirements that are needed, especially
Yeah.
for a horse.
Our attorney said that the statutory options were not of practical utility. And so it's sort of hard to rely on those if we wanted to put those into our ordinance. And part of our main discussion was the fact that the ordinance seems to be driven by a very small amount of issues. One case in particular that keeps coming back up. And so I think, unfortunately, it's just, I would feel hard supporting something where it was driven by a single bad actor. I don't think the town should create ordinances based on that. And I think given the resources that we have and the particular nature of the livestock that this addresses, I think it could potentially create more issues for us trying to deal with it. I think, we've batted it back and forth and spent some time on it, but there doesn't seem to be any clear direction that we can take.
Right.
If we create the ordinance, we're setting ourselves up to be able to manage the potential animals, and I don't think we have the resources to do that. And I don't think the resources are available to us.
Doesn't resolve the issue.
No,
Because,
it doesn't.
the resolution ultimately is gonna be a civil case.
Yes,
It's not, the town's not responsible technically for this person.
yes. And I know the bad actor has ebbed and flowed in terms of ownership of animals and things like that, so there's been change there. Sorry, Jessica, you were gonna say.
I was just going to say that what I like about having the ordinance is that instead of us paying the police to round up, in the blotter this week, it was chickens and horses. So instead of us paying the police at whatever their hourly rate is or overtime rate to do this, what I like about the ordinance is it creates a fine structure so that the costs are then not borne by the taxpayer, but instead by the bad actors themselves. So maybe I could suggest that we take the impoundment part out of it and just make it an increasing fine, where your first time it's just an accident and you get a warning and don't do it again. But for people who continually let their animals go through town and we have to pay the police to go get them. I mean, I'm trying to remember in our last budget, don't we pay the police $12,000 a year to round up animals? I really would like to pass that cost on to people who do this frequently versus taxpayers. It just doesn't seem like a good policy for us to keep paying more and more each year.
How are you gonna do that? If they don't pay the fine, how are you gonna do it? How are you gonna enforce it? I mean, ultimately, the enforcement means taking the animal.
Right. I mean, if you wanted to write that in there, otherwise it could simply be a fine. And it's like any other fine that we have for anyone. How do you get people to pay it? Like, at some point you're expecting that people will pay it because they are receiving these fines. But what about the other fines that we have in town? I mean, we don't send the police out to people's homes, do we?
Certain tickets Bruce has to give. Bruce is the one that has to issue them.
Right.
And if they don't pay, you wind up taking them to court.
I mean,
Okay.
I think the difference here is that you're not dealing with livestock, you're not dealing with a living animal
Right.
that needs to be taken care of. If it's a water fee, obviously, as we will discuss in a little bit, we have our water ordinance and we have more ability in there to hopefully get money, or back payment, things like that. With this, it's a little different. If it gets to the point where we do have to take the animal, then there's a lot involved in taking that animal.
Could I?
One sec.
Okay.
We'll have discussion and then we'll.
Okay, great, thank you.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, to me, the consequences for the town
Yes.
outweigh the benefit.
yeah,
But at what point do we draw a line? I mean, when the budget gets to 15,000 or 20,000, like at some point, it doesn't seem right to me that there are people who don't police their animals, expect the police to round them up and bring them home like it's some sort of a service, and we all pay for that. Like, I understand that if an animal gets out and the police are helping round them up because of public safety issues, of course, we all should pay for public safety. But at a certain point, it seems like this is no longer an accident. It's part of their like animal management practices. And that's what I don't like. I mean, to me, the fact that that budget item is so high, I really don't like that. And I also don't like that every year it goes up. And it doesn't have to be this solution, but I would like to find some way to pass these fines on to repeat offenders versus the taxpayers.
so animal control in our budget, proposed for 2026 was $9,540. Previously, it had been $7,000.
Mhm.
The 7,000 was actual, in 2025.
And that's just for the dogs.
Might be a little bit more actually, this actual from the town report was only 2/3 of the year. So, it's probably around 10,000. I don't know, in terms of, I think you're still on, like, what's it's mainly been dogs, but I don't think, what are the other animals that you're having issues with? I mean, we know that it's horses with this particular case.
Occasionally, I know there's chickens.
Yes, and.
Yeah,
what-
yes, mainly it's dogs, but we are starting to get more phone calls about chickens. So if you were looking at some kind of ordinance, I don't remember what the definition is in there, but there should be some definition, anything beyond a pet, maybe we have some control over. You know, as far as the chickens, we've been able to resolve most of that by the neighbors talking to each other. But I mean, at some point, somebody's going to say, no, I'm not going to get rid of my rooster. I want to have it. And I don't care. My neighbor is 50 feet away.
Mhm.
So I just think because we're starting to get more phone calls about at least those types, we should have something. We should have something to address if you're going to keep an animal other than the typical pet, cat or a dog. What are the consequences if they aren't staying in their yard, if it becomes a nuisance because of noise, becomes a nuisance because of odor or whatever? Right now, we don't have much.
Mhm.
I'm
Well,
not looking to create more work, but when somebody calls and asks a question, there's not much we can do to help them.
Is there anything that you see in our current draft, and obviously you've worked with us through this, that you have concern about that's gonna add more undue sort of process on you as part of the police department? I mean, we're adding a bunch of things in. I mean, our livestock is horse, stallion, colt, gelding mare, sheep, ram, lamb, bull, steer, heifer, cow, and all these. There's a lot in there, chicken.
I don't know if you need to add all of them. I mean, I think if an attorney can come up with some generic or some wording that's like anything other than a typical pet, and then you list what typical pets are. Other than that, I don't think it's going to give us a little more support when somebody calls to say, hey, I'm having an issue with the next door neighbor because they have this animal. Well, there's nothing to support them in as far as an ordinance saying whether you can have that type of animal there.
Yeah, okay.
Also, could we create a memorandum of understanding or subcontract out to a resident in the area who has land in the stable? And you just bore all those costs over to that person.
We haven't discussed that yet. I don't think we've gotten to that point of, we were still trying to sort of drill down with the nuances of this, not creating more work for us and more liability, but also offering, the police department the ability to go after bad actors, and particular livestock. I mean, we could also be worrying about overthinking this in terms of, oh, we're just gonna have a whole bunch of cows and sheep and horses that we're gonna have to figure out what to do with. Like, more than likely, that's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, so let's just say the Hills farm, the cows gets out and tramples all over the place and destroys property. I mean, you're gonna get a ton of phone calls.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't gonna help replace or repair what damage was done. That's really a civil action. So this is only gonna give Bruce or the town some sense of if it's a repeat offender.
Yeah.
I guess, the way I look at it. Mhm. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes, I was the one starting it, whatever, January, February,
Mhm.
and I think everybody knows Diane Saunders.
Mhm.
She's a farrier in town, and I talked to her about it. And her comment was, again, if your horse gets out, how are you gonna get it from point A to point B? And am I gonna allow you to put your horse in with my horses? No, because you don't know their health record, if I can put it that way.
Right.
I mentioned to Jessica that it seems, unless New Haven's got some wonderful plan, the best way to do it is, I think it was mentioned, your horse got out, next time he gets out, there's gonna be a XYZ fine.
Right.
And that's it. And again, if Bruce is still there, I believe there was a horse that got out on 116 South, Tim Heffernan's. Is Bruce still there?
Yeah, Bruce is there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know that a couple of times you come over and helped us with the certain person that we're referring to, and it's not the easiest thing to catch a horse.
No.
I mean, it's like you
It's
have
like
to,
trying to catch cow.
yeah, it's the same thing.
Right.
Again, one of Bruce's patrolmen came down to the one on 116 South. And by the time he got there, Diane Saunders had caught the horse.
Mhm.
She, you know, she knows how to, I
Right.
think I
She's a
know-
horse person.
Yeah, and again, I've got horses. I had to chase one of mine in the pasture, not on the road. And again, it's, you throw a bucket, you throw grain in the bucket, you rattle a bucket. And they go, oh, food, and then they come over and hopefully they
Yeah.
come close enough and you throw, well, you call it a leash, a lead rope
Halter. Yeah.
around their neck.
Halter,
And
yeah.
Diane offered to the patrolman that
Yeah.
went there to give them a halter and a lead rope,
Oh, great.
Mhm.
which is the basic, it's
Yeah.
just trying to catch them, you know,
Mhm.
but again, realizing the situation, trying to take a horse from somebody is,
Yeah.
it's more, I don't know
Yeah.
how. The only reason I brought it up, I'm from Rhode Island, and there was a guy that you'd say, hey, would you move my horse? And yeah, and he would, you know, but there's nobody, we even thought the Stark, you know, Addison
County Commission.
County, they would do it, and they go, you know, they're not gonna do that unless they get paid. In other words, the town would be putting up so much money ahead
Right.
and you know, and I mentioned to Jessica the fact of just, you know, your horse got out, you know.
Yeah, and you have the fun.
That routine, you gotta fix your fence so it doesn't happen again,
Yeah.
because if it does happen again, it's a $100 fine, $50 fine and that. And again, I think it's also been mentioned that there are many fines given out and they're still out, you know, nobody's collecting, but at least there's some threat, I guess. I
Yeah.
hate to say threat, but
Yeah.
the idea, there is a punishment if you don't do it. But as far as impounding horses, nobody's gonna want their horses in with a
Yeah.
strange horse, and it's just not advisable.
Okay.
So anyway, that's the thing, and I don't know, well, I'm sure Diane Saunders or myself or both of us could teach the
Just,
patrolman how to catch a
Okay.
horse, you know, it's like, it's not, you don't call the dog over and that, you know, so.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what I just
Okay.
wanted to get out.
All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. I think if Bruce is supportive of this, if it allows them more ability to find someone whose animals we're having issues with, like we have nothing at the moment apart from dogs. So it does offer that. I think we're mainly worried about the idea of us taking animals and putting them somewhere else. I mean, we rarely do that with dogs, and
Right.
I feel that that's gonna be a much higher risk animal than horses or cows or sheep or whatever, or roosters. So perhaps it's something that we approve of and we see if it's actually usable and a viable solution for what we're hoping it's for.
Well, I don't know that you're gonna wanna put the impoundment piece in there. We've got nowhere to put them.
Okay. So we
Yeah.
could
I
turn
mean,
the
and the other-
impoundment out if we're concerned about if we don't have
Yeah, I mean, if we don't
someone
have
locally
way.
that will take them, or an organization that will take them, we could definitely do that.
I mean, I guess the question might be for Kevin to say, do we leave it, and then if you leave it in, you don't have to follow through with it? You
Yeah,
know, the other question might be that, and I don't know if you can do this or not, you know, if there's enough of a penalty and they don't pay don't pay the fines. Can you treat it kind of like we do the tax liens? You know, and put a lien on the property. You know, that's assuming they own property.
I mean, imagine you have a court hearing,
What's that?
you got a court hearing for this, right?
Well, that's what I'm trying to decide, I mean, is that the way we go? Is it like eventually if they don't pay, you're gonna have to take it to court, is my guess?
Otherwise,
Cause you're issuing a
Otherwise,
civil
no.
ticket.
there's no way for any of us to enforce it if there's a
Right.
court
Yeah.
hearing involved.
would we need to put that in?
I don't know,
Okay,
I don't know. I mean, I know like when we did, Lawson Lane, you know, the water lines,
Yeah.
if they didn't pay, then it would become like a tax lien on their property, so that's why I don't know if this is
Okay.
similar or not.
Okay. Do we wanna send it, so do we wanna make an edit with the impoundment? Or just have Kevin do one,
Yeah, I would
one
have
last
asked,
look at it?
yeah, I would just
Okay.
double check with I would say, let's double check with Kevin.
Okay.
You know, I'm still not sure I want this.
Well,
What,
I mean,
what is the current wording on the impoundment?
I was just trying to find that. Do you remember,
I
Justin?
mean, we don't have the ability to impound an animal, so if has to be impounded somewhere else, then the owner should be responsible for whatever that cost is. I mean, I don't think you can put in a cost if we don't know what it is, but if we have to use an outside agency to impound an animal, they would be responsible for whatever that fee is.
Which is what I was getting to with the memorandum of understanding or a subcontract.
Yes. With someone who.
Finding somebody to be
Yeah,
agreeable to do that
Would
is.
separate the livestock.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I just, really quickly, you had mentioned that, the person we were referring to, her horses got out and demolished the gentleman's
Right,
lawn
Mhm.
across the street.
Mhm.
And that's what the other thing was, that, you know, if your horse gets out again, and you are responsible for any damage that horse.
he is responsible, you don't need to have a policy and ordinance for
You know,
that. She's
just,
responsible.
to let her know that, you know, and again, her insurance had to pay for that.
Right, I mean, she knows that,
Yeah.
I'm sure she's well aware of that.
And
It's in there.
I was quiet for a while because she didn't have any horses for
Yeah.
a while. She had like 4 of them, and then there were none, and that's why I didn't see any reason to
Right.
come. Then we went to 2, now we're up to 3 horses.
How many got out the other day, the last time? Was it all 3 that got out?
Oh, I mean, there was one with like 6 of them, there were pictures of them going down the road.
Mhm.
Cause she's equine 4, I guess is the word.
There's nothing specific in our ordinance about impoundment. We do talk about, the enforcement officer. Going on the property and then if the animal is found, similar to dogs that are found running wild, we would take them, but. We don't have anything specific in terms of where we would store it or anything that's saying impoundment. It's just, it's the assumption that we would handle the livestock, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If it was found wandering around.
Mhm.
So I
We
think.
handle it.
I think to Greg's comment about, you know, we could still have it in there, but internally we have an MOU with a local person that if it is a horse or if it's, you know, do the majority of those, the animals mentioned in the livestock can be contained in a similar sort of way at a location that we would predetermine. And so if we needed to use that ability, we would have that.
Well,
And
I hope
that would be separate from this.
and I hope that would include that they won't be getting their animal back until they.
Yeah, we have all
Fines
that,
and that?
you know, if they talk about us posting it.
I've read this.
You know, the posting shall include a description of the livestock, time and place the livestock was found, name and address, things like that. The livestock is not claimed by the owner after 10 days, or the owner gives notice to the enforcement officer of forfeiture of ownership, or if the owner fails to complete their remedial action. The livestock may, at the discretion of the select board, be sold or transferred to humane society or rescue organization.
Yeah, good luck
You
with
know,
that.
we do have information in there.
Just saying, good luck with that. With the amount of forces that are in rescues,
Yes.
it's hard to sell them, hard to get rid of them.
So that's there, E and.
Put a thing up front.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have the.
Get right back and forth to work.
There we go. The proceeds from the sale of livestock, if any, shall be turned over to the owner after payment of any outstanding expenses due to the town and payment for any damage. So I mean, that's covering where we would store, or house the animal.
So let's couch it so we can have Kevin draft a little bit and we can all put in our 2 bits, Joel and. Mr.
Yeah.
Peaker can add
Yeah,
theirs.
we've done it back and forth and Kevin's looked at it, but I think it's just sort of that final look. I think if, you know, if Bruce wants it, I think since we have nothing at the moment that our police can use for cases like this, whereas we do with dogs, it seems like having one is a positive thing. It's just the unknown of what
Right,
to do with an animal if we did in fact
have to
found
take
a
it.
horse
Mhm.
running around or something like that.
More
and didn't know-
visibility out there tonight too, I'd
Right.
really hate, and while that isn't the town's responsibility,
That's,
if we
yes.
can try to.
okay,
So I don't want to jinx myself by talking about the enforcement end of it or the seizing of an animal. But we've been fortunate that so far, any animal that's been out, whether it's been a horse or a cow, we've been able to locate the owners. And the owners have come to retrieve the animal. So, having something in there like Jessica had mentioned, the first time offense is this, the second time, then you up it. Having something like that, I think would be definitely a benefit for the town, because it doesn't necessarily law enforcement's not the only one that will have the authority to write the ticket. I think we should have it so any code could write the ticket, or the town administrator could write the quote ticket.
Yeah.
Because it's, we keep saying the police, it's not the police that's coming up with this fine. This is a town issue or ordinance. The police are one agent that can write the ordinance ticket or so. Anyway, I think we should, focusing on the impoundment, I don't think that's a priority, because I don't think we need that as important as having some kind of fine structure. And yes, it increases each time, so then people will pay attention. And yes, if they choose to fight it, it goes to a court hearing. So you will have a decision from a court officer.
yeah,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, our fees, it's 160, second is 320, third 480, fourth 640, fifth and subsequent offense is 800. So, we have a fairly high scale that hopefully will encourage people to look after their animals.
Mhm. Whether it's a horse or a chicken.
Yeah. So
That's an expensive chicken.
Yes. So we'll send it back for Kevin for one last look, and then bring it back on the 24th,
Okay.
and make sure other members get feedback. Okay,
Okay,
all right, excellent. And thank you, Dennis, for your feedback.
Thank you, Dennis.
We appreciate you
Thank you, sir.
being patient with the board on
Well,
this.
again, as I said, she didn't, I know we shouldn't be, but there was not a problem. And
Yeah.
Then there was one the beginning of October, and that was an accident. And
Okay,
somebody did some work in the field and didn't close the fence, and anyway, by the time the patrolman got there, Diane Saunders had already.
well, that's good.
So,
okay,
which,
Doing better than in previous times, so that's good.
okay,
Okay,
moving on.
Yeah.
Water Commission.
Thanks,
approval-
Bruce.
thank you, Bruce.
Approval of latest Bristol Water Use Ordinance Policy revisions.
Okay, so I supplied Fund Line, it was on Base Camp 2. That's the water ordinance, and it's got the red line version, which were the changes from the attorney. So the last time we sent this out, again, this is another one we've been working on for a long time. It was sent out for Kevin. We approved it pending
Kevin's review.
Kevin's review. He reviewed it. Everything in red were here, his changes. I didn't see anything in there that
Nope, I was fine with it.
caused concern
No.
for myself. He removed a few things, added a few things, but generally just sort of tidied it up and made sure that it was consistent all the way through in terms of how we were handling some of the not liability, but the fines and things like that.
Policies, procedures for
Yes.
that, yeah.
So hopefully everyone's had a look at that, and then I also supplied the clean version with his changes. So I'm fine with it, and I'd make a motion to approve the ordinance, and then obviously follow statute in terms of posting, or our policy in terms of posting.
Jessica, do you have any questions on it? Were you good with it?
I was good with it. I was just going to second the motion.
So I have
I think it needs to be closer to 50 days.
yeah, I know
Yes.
there's statutory requirements, I
Yeah.
don't know what they are, but yeah. So I have a motion and a second, regarding the, Bristol Water Use Ordinance. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Right, so you and Sharon will figure out how long, how, where, all that good stuff.
I think it's got to be put in the newspaper, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a whole bunch. AZ will probably have some, can give you some feedback as well. I don't, because it's the ward ordinance, water ordinance. I don't know if it's a particular set of days versus other types of things that we would do.
I think that's why it's 50 days.
It is, regardless of a water district or whatever. Okay.
Hey, discussion on updating the policy regarding development on the town green. So I'm only gonna make a comment here is that I think we should hold this over until both Peter and Joel are here. I mean, we can discuss it right now, but I
Sure.
think we should.
Yeah, we can
Wait,
skip it if you want.
I think that's best.
I do too.
to
Yeah,
wait
there's
for them.
something where, you know, it's come up in the past because we've been talking about the EV charging and potential for
Right.
putting that in that location. There's also a couple other things that have come up, that we had a bicycle repair station that we had talked about previously, that's been sort of sitting in storage, if we wanted to put that in. And then there was also potential from the recreation department to put on like a portalet in the summer months on the green.
Mhm.
And so looking at the policy that we have, and it's a policy versus an ordinance, it definitely needs updating. There's very little there. This was done in 2015. And so with the documents that are on the website and on Basecamp, it sort of provided a history of how that policy, or sorry, ordinance policy came about. Policy came about, and my suggestions as sort of a starting and first draft of updating it and getting a little bit more detail and granular with it, so we can all sort of work. I think it's best to keep a policy. I think it helps us a lot, especially because we have select board turnover and things like that. But I definitely think it needs a lot more detail in it in terms of being able to manage what we need to manage on the green.
Did you go back beyond 2015?
No.
Jim, hang on a second. Only because Kevin had said something to me about the original grant. There was some kind of restrictions in there about the village green, so
There
I'm
is.
sure before we start messing with this too much, let's make sure we look at that.
I mean,
I don't remember what it
The
was.
policy came from the planning commission. It was requested, and it would all. stem
Yeah, but I
from-
think there's some restrictions in the village grant. Maybe
What's the
said it
village?
was
It's.
when it was created, when the green was created.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
It's-
check that. I don't know what that is, but.
There's no mention of that in the policy that we
No,
currently have.
I know there isn't.
Okay.
I read that.
All
But
right.
I also want to tell you, talking about the EV chargers,
Yeah,
Prince Lane is, from what I understand, a town road. So why can't we put the EV chargers behind the block? Right where the new sidewalk is?
sorry, say that again.
Prince Lane that goes through Shaw's, apparently is a town road.
Where'd you hear that?
Kevin,
How is it a town road?
I don't know, when we did all the sidewalks and the, burying of the electrical lines, that, whatever we did, I don't remember it was.
Well, that's
He
interesting.
was told it was a town road by Therese. So maybe we should check that out.
Yeah.
Because if it is,
Yeah.
then there's no reason we can't put them back there.
Well,
To me, that would be a great place,
Yeah.
Should be.
right downtown, right?
the
Yeah.
only issue is that it will be a lot more expensive. And so if the board is willing to have the town chip in for costs, any,
Why would it be more expensive to put it there?
because all the utilities are buried and it requires digging in asphalt and repaving. So it adds maybe another
There's the
10,000 to the cost. So. That's why I looked around, I took a walk around, I went with Meredith and Aiden, and tried to look at other options. Every option either doesn't have power anywhere near where we want it to be, unfortunately. It's across sidewalks, or you have to dig in asphalt.
Just as Jim is.
Yeah, I know.
Sure.
Okay, Jim, go ahead.
Hold on one sec.
Wait a minute.
Let
Ian's
me,
gotta let you.
I gotta do this,
you
and I
in.
gotta unmute in, hold on one sec. Where is he? Alright, here we go. Alright, Jim.
Okay, sorry for getting in late on this public forum, but I wasn't able to get in on the chat.
Oh,
earlier.
sorry.
Okay, here's my thing. About this ordinance on the park. We've had quite a few times, there has been efforts to change things on the park. And there are some things that we should just leave alone and not touch. The park, Ian, I see your little smirk there. I don't appreciate it, okay?
I'm not,
Let me finish, please. Let me finish, please. The the park is sacred to this town, it's sacred to the community, it's in the history of the community. We should not mess with it. Once we start opening up to other things, there'll be a little chipping away here, chipping away there, and that should not be allowed. The second thing is concerning the charges. At one of the previous meetings, I asked one of the individuals that was pushing this, if the reason for doing this push on this electric charging station was so that that particular individual did not have to sustain the cost of putting one at his own home. His answer was yes. That should have given you a message right there. Okay, I don't. If people want to go for electric chargers, fine. I'm not for it myself. But again, it relates back to the park. Leave the park alone. That's all I have to say, guys. I apologize for raising my voice to Ian, but I didn't appreciate that little. I understand your concern. I understand you're very passionate about this, but some things should be left alone. Okay, guys?
Jim, if you read the policy, that's what it's for. The policy is to protect the park. I absolutely agree with you. Having no policy means that you run into this problem each time, and it's a board decision, and the board could be made up of all different people in different decades. The policy is there to protect the park and to set parameters of how much you can develop. That's the entire point of it. The policy that we have, though, at the moment, isn't very good. It doesn't provide any amount of detail to allow the board or anyone else to make decisions about what goes on in the park. So that's why we're updating it. And I welcome your comments on that. You know, it's on the website. You can look through the draft that we put together. And that's just the starting point for this, but it allows us the information to be able to make good decisions about what should remain sacred on the park and what should be developed and percentages of how much should be developed, things like that. So it's a very good thing for everyone, and it prevents, a single board making very bad decisions about what should be on there, over time. So it's a good thing. I think you should read it, and I'm looking forward to your feedback.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay. Thank you, Jim.
And you definitely want to read the original charter language. It clearly states no buildings and such, and so.
Yeah, I haven't seen the charter. I just
I mean,
know that there were
Charter-
restrictions on it.
it's Page 102 of book 7. I mean, it's a particularly understood that the selectmen of the, hang on,
Wait, so what? Wait.
town of Bristol,
Hey,
or any person or persons shall. All right, it's all in handwritten, are to have.
what's the book?
Book 7, page 120.
Are the town land
Town
records?
Land record,
Okay.
to have no right and shall not be at liberty to erect or build any house, shop, barn, any buildings of
Whatsoever.
what has, and
Whatsoever.
then there's words I can't quite read. So I'm just saying, they addressed it of buildings, so we definitely want to make sure that we stay in line with that.
Right, but we've already changed a whole bunch of that from that with structures that are on the park, whether it's if the bandstand was probably there, but the memorials were not there at that time.
The
So-
that wasn't the same bandstand I was there.
Right, again, yeah, and the fountain is moved, and so, yeah, not to say that we should reference that definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, especially as a government body, you'd think you'd want to follow the rules that were
Right.
presented to you from those who do.
Yeah, we'll look at
What
it.
year is that from?
I'd have to look, it's many months, actually, it might be the very
Books
top.
then.
Yeah.
Was it even Bristol then or still Polk?
It-
With Bristol,
It was in Bristol,
All right, so land records, so book 7, page, what did you say it was?
102,
Or 102?
120.
oh, 120.
Okay, great, so that's a good thing to look at, excellent.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll pause that.
Thank you, Chris.
okay, moving on. Discussion on implementation of a local option tax for the town of Bristol. Oh, for July 1, 2026. Sorry. Yeah, finish that. No, let's do it now.
Well, I
1827.
I was gonna say 1800s.
yeah, so it was just grass at that point.
Still grass.
Grass with some things on it. Okay, so we've been talking about the idea of the local option tax for a little while. Resident Cecil Foster brought it up in town meeting of this year. He was interested in the board to pursue that, and we have pursued that. I put together some documents based on what other towns have done. Got a couple articles on our website. Different newspaper articles about other towns doing the local taxes.
Kevin given his response to.
Good. So what do we want to look at? I've got
Well, you got your draft.
yes,
Take your facts.
I've got the draft. Let me open that. Somewhere. Didn't sign it. Okay. And again, this is just a draft that I put together. So, and it's a starting point for all of us, the board, to take a look at. So based on the research of the intern that we had for the summer, the estimated amount that a lot based on sales data from the state was around 250,000. So that's what we can, if all goes well, we can hope to get that. If we implement this and the voters approve this at town meeting next year, it would go into effect July 1st, 2026. And then a year later, the idea is that we would collect that. It's a quarterly collection from the state. But I think the biggest thing is that this allows us to get a little bit more stability with both our projects and a lot of different things connected to what we do as a town. Property tax is our main source of income, and that doesn't seem to be keeping up with what we.
You have to offset it.
Yeah.
And then offset it and help out in reserve funds, and there's
Yeah.
economic development that spurts from this. We can directly infuse it back into. And that 250 is just year one, and you know, we'll have economic development efforts here in the next couple of years to help improve certain things. So it'd also be like when I talk to the town manager of Middlebury, like it's important we also like make sure it's in the language that it's up to the allowable percentage that the state does.
Yeah.
In terms of narrative, I mean, I think, you know, if you live in Bristol, you're paying it, and you go to Middlebury, and you're paying it when you go to Virgin, and you're helping out, you're paying all those things over. So to think that, you know, we wouldn't be gaining from this, or it'd be solely targeting our population, which is totally justified concern, but it's already happening, you know, so.
I have a question. You said, who would pay this tax? So how would this work like at Pocock Rocks or an event like the Harvest Festival on the Green?
Mhm.
You know, when people have tents up and they're selling stuff, how does this work for that?
It's all part of the sales tax.
Sales and room and meals.
So like somebody's doing the food
Yep,
in a
so-
thing, they have to pay, they're paying sales tax, so they
Right.
have to collect for this as well.
So actually,
Okay.
you fill out when you fill out your monthlies to the state as a
Mhm.
food vendor,
Mhm.
one of the things that it comes up is there a local options tax? And if
Mhm.
so, how much, what is your cost? And
Yeah.
you have to report that
Okay.
to the state.
Yeah,
Alright,
it's all set up, you know, this. Vermont's had it for.
assuming they pay,
enough-
assuming they're paying sales tax.
Correct.
Mhm.
Middlebury's had it forever, and it's
Yeah.
pretty much all paid for that bridge in there.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it adds a 1% on sales, meals, rooms, and alcohol. You can pick and choose as a town. I think our recommendation should be all 4 of those things. We would want to try to collect as
Yeah.
much as possible. There is no set information about, because I think it's hard to get, about what percentage a town might pay versus what percentage everyone else is paying. I've only found one, and it was about a third what the town paid, and the rest was paid by outside
Mhm.
people.
You're talking about residents.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yeah, residents versus everyone else who
Versus
pays.
residents.
It's hard obviously to track that information, but it's something, I think it's it'd be a nice thing to know, because then it encourages voters to vote on this in the positive.
Right.
You know, it doesn't directly raise property taxes,
Mhm.
because it's a completely different tax. It's a very small percentage.
And you only pay it if you actually buy taxable purchases.
Correct. Yeah, taxable purchases. You know, groceries, clothing, medical supplies are exempted, which is nice. So people worried about buying food, things like that. It's not part of
It's
it.
not part of that.
Someone mentioned in one of our discussions last time about electricity. You pay electricity, but not on the energy that's used. It's on all the other smaller amounts that you pay, but you don't have a tax on the actual energy that you use. So it's only a very small percentage of your electric bill that's actually taxed, that has a sales tax on it. But it's a very positive thing for the town, and it would really allow us to capture a lot of additional revenue, and we would need to decide how we want to use that revenue.
That was one of my questions is, I mean, I see you've got where will the money go?
Yes.
But that's just an idea of where it can
Correct.
go, not where we're
Correct.
saying
So-
it is going to go.
In the discussion that Cecil had at town meeting this year, his suggestion, and this is obviously just a single resident, was 80% be put towards capital projects and 20% for economic development.
Mhm.
He gets the email chain that I send out for the agenda, and so I had some back and forth with him. He'd still like to see that, but he understands, the other elements to
Right.
that. He still was very passionate about at least 20% for economic development.
Mhm.
In terms of the narrative that I put together, and again, this is just a jumping off point. This is just for discussion. So we know it's capital infrastructure. That's one of our biggest expenses that we.
Yeah.
So that's definitely in there.
Mhm.
And the idea is also that you're not completely depleting your capital funds that do come from property taxes, because you can offset it with here. We've seen with 2 large projects this year that we've had to put on pause, the need for this kind of money.
Mhm.
We
Not that
also-
this would have been enough for that one version.
No, but I mean, but over years, it
Yeah,
could be though,
right,
right? It
absolutely.
gives you that
Mhm.
extra ability to do these projects.
Mhm.
The other part of it that we hadn't looked at before was sort of the climate resilience and emergency preparedness. And I'm putting that in because things like Briggs Hill, where you have a road fail, and then you're working with FEMA, and now the stability of FEMA is being called into question. We're not even getting support anymore as a state for some of the events that we've had from weather related. We know that we don't really have any emergency fund that we can use. We know that, previously assigned funds for ARPA were used as emergency funds for projects. So this allows us to be able to create a fund for this and start putting this away for things like road failure, bridge failure, washouts, things like that.
Unexpected.
Because we expect that to continue and not change,
So, my only question, so when you discussed that on your previous slide, you had like other things were listed under this, the climate resiliency and emergency preparedness. Are you presenting just what you have up here, or is the other just for information? Because you had these things like also there was food pieces, there was under the climate resilience and emergency preparedness, there's a larger list of options.
In the FAQ,
But yeah, which I thought you had a moment ago, yeah.
yeah, the FAQ, I had stormwater management, flood mitigation, energy efficiency and emergency response.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just, again, the FAQ is like this, just
Brief.
more brief of this.
Yeah.
And again, we can. This is just as our jumping off point, we want to have a discussion about where we think these funds should be. I want to be specific about certain things, but we also don't know where we might use these things.
We don't?
Well,
What are you talking about?
I mean, we do, but I mean, in terms of that, I mean, yes,
There's only so many places it can go.
true,
And
yes.
all the holes are glaring on what we need
Yeah.
to fix. So to me, what the only question is what percentage of
Yeah.
capital needs to be broken up? And
Yeah,
I think we probably would want to keep that as someone who is going to operate that for you.
right,
I would tell you that I would want flexibility within there, so as we move through the years, we can adjust. I mean, obviously not.
yeah.
Allocate. Learn from our
Oh, I see.
mistakes, one
Yeah.
thing, but yes. But have some flexibility as things go to reallocate into capital infrastructure problems, or firefighters or PD, or we also have a town barn, like there's all these capital infrastructure things that need to be. And so having some wiggle room to be able to navigate that, but also 20%, that's a great starting point, and also incentivizes us to push economic development.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, the one, because there weren't hard numbers, and you and I, when we went through this, we had talked about, there were numbers in my original draft that we looked at, and we sort of adjusted and took them out. One comment from
Like
Cecil.
percentage numbers or,
Correct.
yeah.
Because we'd had that discussion about the flexibility to be able to move. One
right.
comment from Cecil, as a voter, he said he would feel much better voting on a percentage to know what the town would be spending that money on, which I think is probably on the minds of a lot of voters
Most
too.
people.
right.
Have you actually looked at other warnings when the other towns approved them to see how it's worded?
Yeah, they have, some of them are percentages, some of them are just a single fund. It sort of varies, the information that I found. But I mean, we can set it up however we want it.
So my concern would be, on any of the, like, whether it's the economic development fund or the climate resilient, or even the capital infrastructure, the capital infrastructure will always be able to utilize. But if you do 20%, you're talking roughly 50 grand a year. Next thing you know, you've got $500,000 sitting in the economic development fund because we haven't had a project that we've decided to use it on. That's where the flexibility really needs to be available, where you can maneuver through that as that fund is growing. It would be nice to be able to say, okay, let's stop. We don't need to put 50 grand, and we can start doing 10 until we get caught, until we decide we need to use it. Or hopefully we don't have another major emergency over a 5 or 10 year period, and that fund grows in excess. Do we keep plugging money to something that is well funded?
Well, I'd imagine, until we get things off the ground, it would be an amount, and something like that, we'd wanna like partner with Bristol Core, right? And bring them in and ask businesses how they think best that we could infuse it, and that I think is, everyone on the board is probably the same. Thought.
Yeah, and that's where I would be nervous about coming up with like a hard and fast.
Yeah, we can work that out.
I also don't just want us using money to use money because it's in there, you know.
Correct.
You know, go ahead, Jim.
This is excellent, guys. I commend you for taking this position. The average consumer won't even feel it because it won't be that much on the average consumer. And it's a great way to help fund these programs. And I agree totally. We've been behind the wall with finances and taxes going up, and the projects that we have that are in the works that we can't do. This will definitely help. So I commend you guys for doing it. Good job.
Great,
Thanks.
thanks, Jim. Yeah, I mean, it would be, we could set a percentage for voting on this year for the agenda. And then if we run into the problem that Chris describes, that we have so much money in a particular thing that we're not using it, we could definitely look at that, and it would.
You're talking about economic development.
Well, not even that, I mean, all three of them, if we do feel that it's necessary, the voters felt that it's necessary to actually have a clear number assigned to each of those three, if we use these three, clear number. If they do start to get into areas where we realize, oh, we have an abundance of funds, kind of like, I mean, Middlebury ran into that problem. Then it would just be, right, but it would just be something that we could bring to next town meeting to be able to make adjustments.
Well, I mean, I think in order for transparency, I think the more simple we keep it.
Right.
Is more transparent, but I don't think there's anything, mischievous or anything.
No.
We are, like, capital infrastructure is this, and we're putting
Yes.
it there. We're more than willing to answer questions about what capital infrastructure project we're planning toward.
Yes.
And that can all sit there, but that's not what I meant between.
Oh, no, I know.
Fire from, I was just having the flexibility.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't think we want to do percentages. That seems so limiting, unnecessarily limiting. I think what you have right now where you say, these are our priorities, this is where we'd be spending it. But, year to year, the percentage that you might want for capital infrastructure versus economic development might differ. So I think what you have right now is good. I think what people would worry about is like, are you collecting it to do some, thing that they think is not a big priority? But here it's really clear. I mean, these three things that we have are big priorities that everybody would support. So I think saying that this is how we're going to use the money, this is the goal, is good enough.
All for using a portion of it to pay down the bond debt on the water infrastructure project. I don't think anyone.
Exactly.
Really?
Because that's in the water district versus the town.
Right.
I'm just
All right.
saying,
We won't pay off that.
you'll have people
Pay that
that
off.
will do that because
Water rate.
they are not in the water they're not in the water district. But that was the same way I was thinking about, why now and what infrastructure costs. I was thinking, we actually need a police department. But then I thought, well, that's not the police district, but could be a town building that houses the police district.
Yep.
The police is from it down.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
So you don't think anybody would get up just knowing who comes to town meeting? Saying that we should do some of that, people help lower our tax rate.
Oh,
Yeah, if it's not, I'm not in favor of, it doesn't lower the tax rate.
Well, I mean,
well,
all the things in the capital infrastructure, it has to happen anyway.
Right, but that just, they don't see that.
Well, we
They
could,
don't see
the
their
select
tax
board's gonna
rate.
have a lot of explaining and messaging to do to the people.
Mhm.
But this is also where we say that, are you going to see the tax rate drop? No, but you're not going to see it rise as quickly as we would otherwise need to cover these costs. So what this does is this effectively says we're going to collect taxes from people who come into Middlebury to go to restaurants or shop here or vacation here, people that you normally couldn't tax. So we're increasing the tax base. And we're collecting revenue from people who are using our roads, using our water, using our services, but not paying taxes. And that's why this is so important, is that it's not that we're going to give you a check in the mail and say, okay, you've lowered your taxes, but in effect you have, because we won't have to increase the property tax rate.
The town used to give a percentage towards lowering the tax rate, so don't be surprised if somebody brings it up.
Yeah.
Because they probably will.
And other
Yes, it's all fine and dandy that this is good, but
Somebody.
they're not gonna see
Yes,
all the bigger picture that everybody. else
absolutely.
does.
And other
Yeah, and I wish we could do that. That sounds great.
times were specific about that, where they said,
This is not to be used for.
no, the opposite, that it will be used to reduce the tax rate. And I've seen that in our previous town reports. We have done that in the past.
Yeah, but then you pay for it later on.
Correct.
There you go.
Yes.
You reduce it,
Exactly.
next year, so.
Yeah, it's all the messaging and having it be as simple as possible, as you said,
Mhm.
to sort of, to show people that, this isn't allowing the tax rate to jump by such huge magnitudes to
Mhm.
pay for the projects that we need to pay for.
Right.
For the entirety of the town.
We do have a fund revolving loan fund that's kind of in the same language as that economic development fund
Mhm.
somewhat. And you're not gonna get me to raise my hand to yay on it until we get some teeth in that revolving loan fund. Get
Teeth,
some teeth in it to collateral. We've had businesses walk out of this town owing us 70, 40, 50,000, and we didn't get a dime from them.
But you've had hundreds that have also repaid you.
And we've had hundreds to pay it, and that's what, until we get some, okay, what are you putting up from collateral? And it's more than just, I'll pay you back, give you a handshake. We've gotta have more than a handshake.
Well, this doesn't deal with that though.
And I know it doesn't, but the revolving loan fund does that, but it doesn't seem to. We're chasing down a machine shop now that never gonna get that money. It's in Connecticut somewhere or gone and,
Well,
you know,
that's the inherent risk of it.
well.
Oh, we've made money on
That's
it.
what banks are for. I'm sorry, I work for one, yeah, but. Your strategy's gotta be where you've gotta put something, if you're gonna have some skin, you gotta have some skin in the game. We got a cookie person that walked over the mountain with $70,000, paid us $2 and left. We didn't get a dime,
They didn't go over the mountain, they went out of state,
and went out of state.
and then went bankrupt. So you weren't getting anything anyway.
We can
So if
take.
we'd had their house over in Warren as collateral, it might,
but that's nothing to do with this. That's a
well,
completely
it has a
separate.
lot to do with that. I think it does. When you say it's gonna be for, okay, so it's gotta be a downtown business, it says right there, downtown real
No,
revitalization or
we
business
want-
construction.
No, it's for all Bristol. This is just preliminary. We haven't.
I know, it's just preliminary, and I walked in at the end, but.
Yeah, it's a certain percentage. We would probably partner with Bristol Core because I don't think the town has the ability to do the economic development side. We've looked at that in the past in terms of having a position that did that. But it's never really happened. And so I think we already have a well-established organization here that's doing just that.
Yep.
And so I think by allowing them and others to be able to use those funds, to be able to reinvest, you know, it's a big part of it.
By helping them, we help everyone.
Yes,
So it is in our
Yes.
very best interest to
You know,
improve business here.
and their core is already has specific messaging,
Yeah.
and so to give them the ability to even perhaps hire another person to continue to do that messaging on behalf of the town, you know, for all of the town, like, you know, we need that constantly, and you can see that in other towns around us, you know, and throughout Vermont, where they have people who are dedicated economic development persons that do that solely for the town.
Oh, I'm connected with Addison.
Right, exactly.
We can
And
work
we,
with
and we
that.
have you there now who has experience, who's making those connections, and so I think
Sure.
all of that drives it.
I mean, I really, when we talked about this one, said, I thought it was like, you know, when we had years that we knew, we had auditors that would give us numbers at least 18 months back and say, okay, you finished the year with a couple $100,000 in to the good. We'd say, okay, let's put 40,000 in capital roads, let's put 50,000 in the capital building. You know, our buildings are not in great shape, a lot of them, you know, some of them are. West Street is in excellent shape now, but you know, this building is in pretty darn good shape with the library, but we're doing some insulating and energy improvements, which needs to be done. So when we don't have to put things in those capital funds,
Correct.
as in tax dollars, that's where I thought this money would, not all of it, but a good chunk of it
And that's.
would
what
go
it is.
into those capital funds.
Well, that's what it's doing, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
But we cannot predict.
and I like the emergency preparedness for, you know,
we don't have.
or that would be like the Lincoln Road that washed out, it was 400,000 more than we expected.
Mhm.
Yeah, or the Briggs Hill that we
you know,
haven't done yet.
this is totally new for us, we can see how other towns have done it. But this is new for us, and so we just have to present a narrative that we feel is strong, that people understand, that people will vote for. And then we'll go a year and see how it is. As I said, it's paid quarterly, so we'll see if it gets approved and we implement it July 1st. We'll talk to Sharon a few months later and we'll see how it fares. And the idea is that the more we put into economic development, the more people we can bring here and the more people we can get to
We'll
pay.
spend money.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. But you're right, I mean, the capital infrastructure, all of the, you know, using unassigned funds, we've done it in the past, but it's never really been to our benefit. A lot of times, we've never had the funds to put in, if we track back, you know, because you haven't had clear
Information.
about the status of the remaining funds. And so it's like, I think that we're doing away with that, I would hope, because it just can't be, we can't rely on that, but this is something that we can rely on.
It's not gonna all happen in 190.
No, I
And so-
understood it.
But year 5, year 6, year 7, year 8.
Yeah.
Then we might start seeing general rate revenue that we can start offsetting at a greater detail, bigger clip, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But you gotta get it off the ground first before we can, we can see its viability and.
Jessica, did the college student, did he do the numbers, what it would be just for meals and rooms and alcohol?
Yeah, that's what Ian has. He has that information.
I
He
didn't
was,
look at it.
his was a little bit lower, it was like 230, 240 something, I added in numbers based on just the minimal rooms that we have.
Right, yeah, he couldn't get all the lodging numbers.
We have very few, and we're working on those numbers, and we also did, alcohol is based on Brandon. Because the state didn't have alcohol numbers for us. So I did Brandon, which is the closest.
Certainly.
Yeah, but everything else was there, those were numbers, and so the estimated is the 250.
And everything tax would be how much?
250.
250.
No, everything like, not food, but fuel,
All sales?
all sales.
All set, that's
250, so what was just alcohol?
Oh.
And
I didn't run those numbers, because we're only looked at just doing everything. I think that's where you get the most benefit, I think you need to be all in, and most towns that I research are all in.
Yeah.
You know, rooms is very small for us.
Yeah, it would be very small.
But, and
Only
meals a little bit, sales are our biggest, and hopefully alcohol would be big. I mean, again, we only have one or two, three.
There's a lot of people in this town that drink.
Right.
Not at all.
Yeah, so, you know, the FAQ is on the website. I encourage people to look at it. You know, it's hopefully spells out very clearly what this is and what it does and how it benefits Bristol. You know, the idea is that as I said, we're not adding to the property tax, because we don't need to increase taxes as much because we can use it to offset a lot of things that we do.
Is your number wrong there? To raise 250 is 14 cents, that's more like, I believe it's probably more like 9 cents. 27,000 is 1 cent, usually it was 27,000 on the grand list. You wanna raise
Yeah, I can double
25,000.
check that, should be right. So the 1% for $10, it's 10 cents that you're adding, so it's a pretty small amount.
Does anybody know? So all the businesses in town. Their Green Mountain Power bill would, I don't know if that hits residents too,
It doesn't,
but it does businesses.
no, there's a sales tax on all the extra things that we pay on electricity, not on the energy. That's not tax.
Yeah, it is for businesses. Okay, I'll show you, want me to show you 5-6 years of Middlebury?
Sure.
As their, yeah, not tax, then town tax.
As the research that I did said that GMP, there isn't sales tax
I'll send you Brandon's.
on the electricity use, but there is a sales tax on all the other charges that are on. So if you have additional charges outside of your kilowatt usage, maybe that's what that number is. Yeah, if you can show me details.
Yes, I'll show you.
Maybe you're right and I'm wrong, but let's double check that. But at least for residents, it's not, the kilowatt isn't charged. It's just the extra charges that are on it, which there are quite a few now. So. Department of Taxes collects all of this, it's already set for businesses, especially sales doing this already, as Chris mentioned. They just file it, so Bristol would receive 75% of this.
Did they change that? Cause it
They're,
was 70-30.
It's
Yeah,
changed.
they changed it.
So 25% goes to the payment in lieu of taxes, which is the pilot program. And we actually received $20,000 from the pilot program for a couple of our properties, which is kind of nice. So we're
That's in lieu of taxes.
correct.
Yeah.
But I mean, so, you know, even part of the percentage that we don't receive,
Get back.
we're still getting back in the form of some of our properties. So hopefully this would be approved March 2026 at town meeting vote. We'd have to decide whether we want it to be a floor vote or whether it should be a Australian ballot vote. And then we would notify Department of Taxes, and July 1st, we could make it, that would be the earliest effective date, we could start it. Then October 2026 would be our first revenue payment.
So Joel, your question on room and meals and those percentages estimated based on Sebastian's work over the summer. Room and meals,
75,000.
meals and alcohol, 45 grand. Rooms based on what they could find at the time was about $2 grand, you bump that up to about 20.
Yeah,
So you're talking like $60,000 to $80,000 just on those two, so it's hardly worth going to the exercise just for those two pieces.
Yeah. So about 30 Vermont towns have lot. Middlebury gets about 1.3 million annually. Which is nice. We can get to there, that'd be pretty nice. Brandon uses capital projects, Londonderry infrastructure projects, improvements.
I think Heinsberg definitely.
And then sort of a list of what we face over the years in terms of large scale projects and issues that we've had to deal with that cost a lot of money.
I like it. Good work.
Thank you. So yeah, this is the first round, so I welcome comments from anybody. Please send them to me if you have particular things you'd like to update or change or edit in the narrative or in the FAQ. And then we can continue to update this and work towards putting it on the ballot for next year. And the language I should have showed that. Let's go back to that. Would be. Should the voters approve a local option tax in alignment with the state of Vermont on sales, meals, rooms, and alcohol? As specified in 24 VSA and 38B, with the proceeds designated for capital infrastructure projects, climate resilience and emergency preparedness and economic development. And as Greg mentioned at the top of this discussion, a lot of towns have the actual percentage in of the 1% tax, but there are movements afoot to increase that potentially. And so, as you said, Middlebury's charter or recommendation from Middlebury was to not have it tied to a particular number. They have to go, if it is increased in the next couple of years, they need to go back to the voters and have that change. Whereas if we just have it in alignment with the state, it covers any change that we might have. But again,
You mean if Middlebury want to go from a 1 cent to a 2 cent?
well, it wouldn't be Middlebury, it would be the state, if they're lobbying to increase it statewide. So-
Yeah, but he's saying if they do it, then town of Middlebury would have to go back to the voters to get them.
Yes,
But they
because
don't.
their original.
They don't, because they are allowed it to the most allowable to the state if they choose to. So if the state changes it from 1% to 3%,
Yeah.
then they're already.
Yeah.
We would have a different discussion about that.
They also have a downtown
Downtown business tax.
business tax at 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, please send me your comments if you have them.
Okay. Select board roundtable, Jessica.
I don't have anything other than when I was out of town on a business trip, I took pictures of sidewalk patches and repairs and sent them to Greg. So I just want us to keep focused on repairing the sidewalks. And so there were a couple of low cost patches, and Greg thought some of them were ugly, but there are options. That's all I had.
Barry's got yours chewed
Just-
down.
Just some wood hammered in.
Okay, Joel.
Yeah, Middlebury does. They go around. Thing I like to, they have on their skid steer, like the one in.
They have a
front of the
grinder?
library, they have a grinder on it, goes across the 5 foot and grinds the lip off.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's one of the pictures I sent.
That's a low hanging fruit with, run a machine for a week or a day or two.
I'll make sure you get it.
$200.
I'll make sure you get it.
Yeah. And you can repair it outside, but been working with Bruce and Arnell. Of course, I don't know if Arnell knows that we don't have kind of a liaison anymore. I was the dump guy,
Yeah.
They've sent me pictures the last couple of 3 weekends, Saturday mornings, and they're picking up the trash on Main Street, and I'll tell the apartment owners, right, you're looking right in the eye. Your recycling is going through, and we've picked out 2 names out of the recycling that's throwing recyclables.
Okay.
And Bruce has them and he'll be acting on them, so. The containers on Main Street are for trash and recycling not for the apartments and not for the businesses, they're for people walking the streets. So, and we've got 2 already, or he's got information for 2.
Good.
And that's all I have.
The garbage czar. Okay,
We'll
Ian.
have to have a plaque for him.
I've been working on the lots, working on the EV, the town green policy. Also this Thursday, we'll talk more about the water lines, the service line for customer service line. We'll have our water meeting. We'll talk a little bit more about that.
That's with Jill and Steve.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, just getting some
What
sort
is
of
that, Thursday?
Thursday, yeah, at 3:30. So we have that discussion, and then we also, this week, we met with the library director and board member to discuss sort of integration with the town. And it's something that's the library already has, it's part of their initial charter, but they're incorporated, and they're sort of like a hybrid library, and they're looking at having a 501c3 part, similar to what the fire department does, but they're looking to bring some of the things that they currently do themselves would be handled by the town. And I bring it up, my question to you, is it something that comes before the board for voting? Or is it already, because they're already an established municipal library, and it's just they never became like a true town department, whether it's something we need to revisit, and if it's a board needs to make that decision.
That might be a Kevin question.
Okay.
'Cause I'm not sure,
It's the libraries have their own statute.
right,
Own section, so your library can be a municipal library, but they have a board of trustees, which prepares the budget, presents it to the select board. But essentially, all library staff would become town employees at their
yeah.
various levels. The town would take responsibility for payments, payroll, as well as purchasing, things like that.
Do they then become part of Beamer's too then?
They already are.
Yeah.
They already are?
Yeah.
Okay,
And so their budget essentially becomes part of like a department budget.
right,
No, they do all
And
that.
they would present it to us as other departments will very soon. But it's something I thought about after the meeting.
It'd be like a department head and their budget would then, they wouldn't get as much in their allocation.
Well,
Right.
it wouldn't be an allocation anymore. It would just be
Oh,
similar to the
budget.
department. Yeah, the only difference between the departments that we have now is that they have to have a board of trustees that has control over creating the budget. They don't have control about how it's spent. That's the library director's purview. So,
so you said they're part of Beamer's, does the town pay part of their Beamer's?
No,
No,
pay-
they pay their own, but they are on Plan C, so they would just be incorporated.
yeah,
Yeah, but doesn't the town pay a portion of Beamer's?
Not for that.
yeah.
Yeah, but if they become a department,
Right,
then we-
that number's already.
Calculated in there.
I think their percentage is the same as ours. but-
It's exactly the same.
Yeah, the meeting was Kristen, Sharon, Greg, myself, and Katie, and the board member, Vicky.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sweet.
So many people, and. It seems very positive. It seems like the right way to go. Katie felt that because they've always been this sort of weird hybrid, it was just something where they were established and then never, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
made this transition to actually have the town be a
For some
bigger
reason,
part of it.
somebody on the board or the trustees
No,
wanted
it
it to
wasn't
be
the
separate,
time,
whatever.
you
at the
know,
time.
and they don't have a 501c3 either, and so they're missing out in various ways, and Katie, I think in her position, having this more flexibility, more time, moving away from some of the administration side of things that the town could handle, because we already handle it for multiple people, multiple departments, would free her up to do a lot more in terms of her position, so I think it's a very
We'll
positive
work with the
thing.
board of directors to build a capital.
Exactly.
fundraising plan.
So all of it seems positive. It doesn't seem like there's any curveballs that'll be thrown in terms of something that they do that they wouldn't be able to do under us. It seemed like a very good thing to do. And then they would establish their 501c3 and that they would manage their funds. What do they have now? It's not a capital fund, it's the,
Investment funds.
yeah.
No,
It's like whatever fund that, they have two, and so the trustees would manage that, similar to how the fire department, endowment, thank you.
endowment.
They would manage that, so we don't have anything to do with that, we don't wanna have anything to do with that, so.
Mhm.
But I mean, yeah, we should talk to Kevin, and that's
Yeah,
part of
just to
that.
make sure the
That's part of
process,
that
we're doing the
process.
process right, yeah.
Okay,
I mean, I would assume they'd want their 501c set up before we do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
okay, so I'll reach out to him, or maybe have Katie, cause she has a connection with him, just
Yeah.
to sort of talk about that and
Yeah.
make sure, yeah,
And they're working on an MOU right now.
correct.
We're just in the beginning stages, but
Okay.
Okay, so that's how that was.
Right.
it just makes sense. I mean,
I think I'm good. Town administrators report.
I'm doing everything.
Well, I hope so. Yeah, I guess we don't need you to.
Don't break your arm, pat yourself on the back, Gregory.
You're too easy, Sharon. That was too easy.
Taxes due back.
No, all the staff up here have been working real hard. We've been cleaning up house. Working on documents and cleaning that up and getting concurrent on that. So we'll have our hallway back here soon. Sharon and Chris have been working diligently on with taxes that are coming in. As well as the various other Vermont bond bank requirements and loan documents that Sharon, I just keep putting in front of Sharon and she was in the world, so.
How many do we have to do? I thought.
No, it's just documents,
Just the questionnaires are never ending.
our fiscal 20.
They really care about the millions of dollars they're gonna lend us.
Yeah, the fiscal,
Why? They're not even financial questions.
You guys wanna go home or do you wanna stay here? Fiscal year 24 audit's done, we'll be sending a response back Wednesday. We've created, Sharon, Chris and myself worked on and created a policy with the areas that needed improvement. No, it's no big deal, and we sent that back, we'll send the other stuff back. And just meeting with all director heads, getting the budgets together. PD, fire, admin, operations, Sharon, and we have a couple.
Rec.
Yep, that one's on the horizon, so a few more, and we'll be able to put all that together and give you something to chew on here. We got plenty of time, so.
Good.
Plenty of time.
Well, you didn't. Here, so I
No,
would say you got 2
that's
months.
not
more.
true.
That's actually.
We started
Last
December.
year was January.
No, we started December. We
Does
did.
anyone else wanna correct me in here today?
Mhm.
Well,
Believe me, because Val had finished on December 20th, that was the last one, so we didn't start with
but everyone was doing well, and I don't have much else to report on that.
Right.
Are we meeting every Monday in December or not? I'm gonna be out the 15th.
Not at the moment.
No,
And once,
if we meet every Monday, it's usually in January.
and then January 5th, that's not a meeting night.
It hasn't been decided yet. My hope is that budget is so efficient now, that we don't need to meet every Monday.
I like
do.
that.
6 o'clock starting December.
Yeah,
That's what we
whatever.
agreed upon at the last meeting or the previous. We started December.
And I wasn't here for the pay orders. There was the loan there for 31,000. What was that loan for? Banno. There was one payment in there, 31,000.
34,000 something, yeah, that's for our stormwater bond.
Stormwater bond, okay.
And Sharon, were you able to hire the temporary help that you needed?
No, I've gotten 4 resumes, the deadline is the 13th.
Good resumes?
We're working through it.
Okay.
Wait a minute, okay.
I got one today, I haven't been able to look at it, and the other 2 were from DC. I know how they got wind of it.
Well, we'll
Maybe I
give them serious
Put
consideration.
in my application.
There you go, you can come work for me.
Wow, it's gotten that bad.
I can't handle both of you in the front there.
You never know, you might never have to come out front ever
I
again.
definitely won't. I'll crawl out that hole in my window.
We're gonna change where the doors go.
There used to be door cells.
Okay.
Sure, if I should take that as an insult. Fine. Okay, next, correspondence, reports.
Yeah. Nothing came to me.
Response received, any of that?
Nothing
I
came to
don't think
me.
there's, I didn't see anything. We're not, no executive session?
No.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks.
Out of here.
This was great, guys. Very efficient.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.